Love, peace, and blessings, everyone, and greetings from the FAMU College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences Institute of Public Health for another exciting episode of the W.H.A.T podcast, Wellness, Healthcare, Advocacy, and Transparency. I'm honored to be your host, Dr. Ola Sheffield, and I'm doubly honored today because my guest, what can we say? We have one that I've known for some decades now, and then we have the fruit, my God, of his loins, if you will, in terms of medicinal chemistry as front and center. And we're going to show you how it applies to our everyday life. To my immediate right, we have Sir Jean-Baptiste Lamango, and he will just tell you a little bit about himself.
Yes, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
My name is Jean-Baptiste Lamango. I finished my college career at University of South Florida in 2025, this past May. So now I'm here at FAMU and I'm just doing research.
And not just doing research, but you know Dr. R. Reams, yes, my sister girl, she's been on the podcast before, and again, he's working closely with her. But where does some of this brain power come from? You may recognize him from some of the Researcher of the Year awards back in the early 2000s, and fast forward, full professor, the one and only from the East Wing here at the CoPPS IPH, Dr. Nazarius Lamango. Thank you for being here today. Would you just say hello to our audience, please?
Hello, thank you for having me. Again, my name is Nazarius Lamango. I'm a professor of medicinal chemistry, biochemistry, and other areas of science. And I've been here for 28 years and counting, and happy to be at FAMU.
Wow, almost 3 decades. Thank you. And still looks good, right? And again, I remember this young man, I'm not going to embarrass him too much, but just a little bit in terms of he used to be with his dad, coming over to Foothill back in the day to the Division of Research, just a lad. When I say knee-high to a stump, Jean-Baptiste, that was you, but bring us up to date. Coming from USF most recently, what were some of your experiences there, research-related, please?
Research-related, I was doing research with Dr. It was an organic research at his lab, his Monopolis lab, and we were working with hybrid metal halides. They're semiconductors, and they're found in LEDs and solar cells, solar panels. So that's what I've been doing there. I just finished, but I've been doing there.
Indeed, and again, congratulations on your recent commencement. But you know, the research you just described, what does that mean? Like, say for me, who's like, say what?
Yeah. Well, that organic research to me is just more working with things that are not, you don't need them to survive, but they're very helpful to make life easier, like LEDs, like I said, or solar panels if you want to get energy from the sun for your house. So that's what I took from his research, at least in how it will help people.
So potentially save money, like, you know, as far as energy bills, and that kind of consumption?
Yes, because like my father, he does more like medicinal stuff, but this was more industrial.
Okay, gotcha. And so they don't seem too separated, but Dr. Lamango, medicinal chemistry in its essence, what is that for us?
Well, medicinal chemistry is involved with understanding how drugs work.
Okay,
how to design new drugs, to find the targets, such that, you know, you can give a drug, a molecule that is usually synthetic and organic in nature, and it will bind to what actually is causing the disease. Okay, that's what modern medicine is, away from what used to be one size fits all. Now, you can take, for instance, something like cancer. You know, the true way to actually call it would be cancers, because if you look at even something like breast cancer, you go from one patient to the other, what is causing and driving it forward, you know, they're usually different. And so, you know, people with breast cancer, you know, they may require totally different types of molecules to effectively treat them.
Indeed.
And so that's what, you know, medicinal chemistry involves itself with, you know, finding out what is driving any disease, and then finding ways to design molecules to target and control and bring back to normal those various factors that cause disease.
Okay. And in terms of that, you know, cancer has probably affected everyone, unfortunately, in our listening and viewing audience. And, you know, I have bear testament to that as well. But moving forward, because we have these two generations here, Jean-Baptiste, your work that you're doing with Dr. Reams, is that tying in with some cancer research?
Yes, me and Dr. Reams are doing data mining. At least I'm doing data mining on cancer disparities. So I'm looking at specific genes and overexpression and underexpression, and how those can either cause or be a big factor to that cancer or not. And I'm looking at different places on Earth. Well, we usually start off with just the global, and then we'll go to the country, United States, each state, and then we go to Florida, and then we go to the counties. So we kind of start from a wide aspect, and we narrow into like where we live. Yeah.
And me being a native Floridian, a Black woman, obviously, as relates to people of color, not to stereotype or anything, but do you find the research shows it affects more people who look like us, perhaps?
Yeah, it does. And I was looking, one thing that really shocked me when I was looking at it was more of the African countries, like Western Africa, Southern Africa. Like the chart showed that there was less cancer there, but I think that me and Dr. Reams talked about it, and we both think that it's a lack of resources for those people to go into the hospital and actually know they have cancer. Like, I think many people probably die, they don't really know what they have. So that's one thing that shocked me. And there are some from the gene expression that we saw. Some of them are higher in African Americans for specific genes that cause cancer. So.
Sounds like there's some predispositions going on there. And Dr. Lamango, your research is replete. I mean, people can go to the Google research scholar, what have you, and see just a kind of litany, if you will, of your various research endeavors and accomplishments. Not least notwithstanding is several patents that you have been awarded by the U.S. Patent Office. And would you speak to those in terms of how perhaps what you're doing in the lab, getting into the patent office and being approved, and then to get some commercialization going on so that it can be some benefit to humanity?
Oh, yes. Patenting is a crucial aspect of actually turning research into something that can help people. Because if you don't patent, which what we call patent protection, then it fails to be commercially attractive to anybody who has deep pockets, to actually develop the knowledge, the technology into something that would help patients. And the reason being that, it might cost, anywhere around $1 billion to develop.
With a B.
Yes, with a B, to develop a molecule into a drug. And obviously, we here, we may have the ideas, but we don't have those kinds of resources. If we don't patent protect, then nobody will be interested. And so, yes, around 2011, we had some patents, and we have some ideas now. We've been working on those technologies. And there are some developments that, we'll be seeking some more patents, and then the technology will be at a level where, it's more attractive now than it was then. And so that's what we're working on now, to continuously develop that work. We've been testing the ideas, we'll have some real concrete results. We know what the molecules bind to, and we know how to better refine them, and one other thing is that you may have a molecule that does work in the test tube, but in the body, many factors can change the way, it works, in the body, if you test it on, say, pancreatic cancer cells and it worked in the body, the molecule is going to face the liver with enzymes that are going to break it down. So how do you mitigate those different factors? The compound, you put them in the test tube directly onto the tumor cells or whatever. But will the compound be taken orally? Will it be absorbed? Will it be taken to where the cancer is? All those are factors that we have to consider and do research about. And so this decade or so since those patents, we've been working on some of those things. And, we are making some headway, and publishing along the way.
Yes.
And we're getting some more, seeking some more patents, on more recent improvements on the technologies.
Indeed. So Jean-Baptiste, you even alluded to with the research that you're conducting with Dr. Reams and maybe some other collaborators as it relates to, the distinctions, if you will, male, female, young at heart, so forth. What are some things that you may be exposed to that, again, I'm thinking clinical trials, and I'm actually get to your dad on that because, when you said the billions of dollars that are needed to get from the lab to the bench, if you will, where are you in that process with Dr. Reams and her research?
In finding what exactly?
In terms of how, do we distinguish one molecule from another? We don't have necessarily human persons that are humans that are there going through the trials. So how are you testing in laboratories, or what are you doing exactly?
So that's the thing, that me and Dr. Reams were doing the data mining first. And then she talked to me later that once we find a gene that is worth usually like looking into, then we're going to start doing like bioassays and things like that. But I haven't been in the lab yet, unfortunately, but
you just got here. I mean, you got to go at graduation from one point to the next.
When you think science, you think you'll be in a lab, so but, it'll come though. So we're just being patient.
Okay. Yeah. And patience does, I think, pay off. And I'm sure your dad can pat you on the back and encourage you in that regard, because how much work goes on in the lab? I mean, is it just like an 8 to 5? And okay, I'm done, and wow, I can just enjoy the weekend and the family, or
no. If you're a passionate researcher, sometimes you can be at a party somewhere after a beer, you're thinking about something, so you never stop thinking, right? I mean, and to add to what he was saying, in medicinal chemistry, you have to first of all find out what is driving the disease in any particular patient. And so data mining helps in that respect, where, you can do disease correlations with certain changes that you see in the genomes of a large number of people, large number of patients. So they may sequence tumors or determine how much of any particular gene is being expressed or suppressed relative to the normal tissues.
Okay.
And then you can have some of those patterns that you can tease out, and then that'll give you some knowledge as to what is causing a cancer. And then when you have the information, which is what he's calls data mining. As you know, in science, people don't work in silos. You have different experts in different areas coming together and bringing their expertise, to bear. And so once people know some of those disease-causing changes, then other scientists, such as medicinal chemists, may design molecules to go after those, and then pharmacologists will test them, pharmaceutical people will formulate them, So many heads come into being. Statisticians will have to crunch the data to make sense out of bioinformaticists, will be doing those kinds of things as well, so that everybody comes together and makes sense out of the...
Indeed, there is, what can we say, teamwork makes the dream work is more than cliche, if you will. Together, everyone achieves more. And so Jean-Baptiste, again, back to data mining, because I really want to understand, it's not like I'm coming to the lab to help you with Dr. Reeves, but I just want to understand is, do you consider various factors a person's, where they come from in terms of their environmental, elements and, what they put in their bodies, digestive-wise, eating and drinking and so forth?
Yeah, at least in the website, we only looked at, there's a bunch of things you can look at, like you mentioned before, gender, race. There's many different factors, we're all different. And we also look at things too, like the P factor. The P, it's statistical significance.
Okay.
We have to make sure that it's under 0.01. Because if it's above that, then it's not really causation. It's might just be correlation. It's not really concrete. Okay. So we look for something under that value or equal to that value. And like even the Henrietta Lacks, I don't know if you've heard about that.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Henrietta Lacks, she's a woman that she had cervical cancer, and people took her cells, and there's a bunch of controversy behind these type of things. And that's if you look at the African American numbers, it's a little bit lower, like in terms of how many African American patients we can get for to test on, because African Americans don't want to give because the whole controversy behind that. So there are different factors that we have to look into. And that's one of them. The Henrietta Lacks one is a big one.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take a look at that Henrietta Lacks research.
So Henrietta Lacks, she had cervical cancer, and cells were taken from her cancer, and they've been, they've been used for research for decades, and her consent was not
given.
She never gave her consent because she was never asked. Someone just took them, and then of course there's the Tuskegee experiments,
I
you know,
was
on
thinking the
syphilis.
same thing.
You know, so you have these kinds of things that have done, you know, where humans were actually hurt in the process, you know, and so that has led to ethical issues, you know, that he's alluding to.
And speaking of ethics, you know, I'm just going to put out there National Institutes of Health, because they've been very good to the FAMU CoPPS IPH. As you know, Dr. Lamango,
Yes.
you've been successful in grantsmanship. And, you know, I know you just sit down and you're like, oh, I'm going to write a proposal and I'm just going to submit it to NIH and Bethesda, Maryland. They're going to just fund it for multi-million dollars. I know that's that. And help us with that process in terms of how you're able to afford some of the learners that are in the labs with you because of grants that come from NIH and other entities.
Oh, yes. Biomedical research or any other forms of research, you know, is not cheap. It's quite expensive. I mean, to publish a manuscript takes tens of thousands of dollars in labor efforts, you know, as well as resources, you know, whether it's equipment or supplies, you know, and so the NIH, you know, and by extension, the taxpayers of the United States of America, you know,
it's an investment.
They're critical, you know, in ensuring that, you know, the health of mankind keeps improving. You know, because every day that you have people in the lab, graduate students, undergraduate students, sometimes high school students, postdocs, you know, everybody, you know, bringing their efforts together, you know, holds, you know, the promise, you know, that diseases that are incurable today, you know, would have treatments tomorrow. You know, I mean, one very transformative example, you know, would be like the HIV/AIDS. Before 1996, you know, it was like a death sentence. And in December 1996, you know, when the drugs called the protease inhibitors came into the clinic, you know, it has been very transformative. You know, I mean, if people die from HIV/AIDS these days, you know, it's probably maybe lack of resources or to get the medications and stuff like that.
Indeed.
You know, so yes, a lot of work has been done, a lot of achievements have been made. You know, sequencing the human genome, you know, the kinds of technologies that are driving forward research, whether it's microscopy, mass spectrometers, and all that are cutting edge. You know, it's really transforming, you know, science and discoveries. But there's still a lot that has to be done. Even you look at cancer, people are still dying from it because sometimes you find out what is causing it, but finding a drug for it is challenging, you know. Remember 20, 25 years ago, they were saying, you know, when they sequence the human genome, all the answers to humans' disease problems will be solved. Then that has been done, you know, for a long time. And there are still health issues. And that is because, you know, the genes themselves are blueprints, you know, but then the protein products, they have other layers of sophistication, other layers of transformation, you know, that also can be disease causing. You know, so when you sequence the genome, all what you're looking at things like mutations. But then when the proteins are synthesized, there are other biochemical transformations on them. Will those biochemical transformations be too much or too little, or something will go wrong along the way? Or even how much of a protein gets expressed, like Jean-Baptiste was saying, you know, are the genes overexpressed? Is too much of a protein being made? Or is it too little being made? That can lead to issues. Just like mutations can lead to a protein being too active or less active. Yes, what you call gain in function mutation and loss of function mutation.
And that's
all those are aspects.
So fundamental, yes. Huh?
Exactly. You know, so sequencing the genome is just one aspect of things. There are many other layers of control, and that something can go wrong along the way somewhere.
And speaking of that, you know, with the data mining in terms of Jean-Baptiste, just to kind of give us, you know, because as I glimpse the future, he was just walking down the hall, y'all, and what can I say? Here he is today. But if, you know, it's on our way out, you could just tell us what you're looking for as your final outcome from this experience, briefly, from Dr. Reams.
Oh, with Dr. Reams, I think the most important thing for me is to just go there and fully learn about cancer. I haven't really dived into cancer research and understanding cancer research, even though my dad's been doing it for years. So it's good to maybe understand that, and then him and I can talk as well. But also, I have other plans too, like medical school or dental school. I'm in between either one of those, but that would be very important for my admissions to get into medical school or dental school. So.
Well, we wish you well with both Jean-Baptiste Lamango and Dr. Nazarius Lamango. Thank you both for stopping by the What Podcast. For any of your show ideas or feedback, ola.sheffield@famu.edu or 850-412-5110. Be sure to like, comment, and share on our social media. Until the next time, stay wise and wealthy, but not in your own eyes. Hydrate yourselves. Thanks for watching.